San Francisco, a city where dreams are born and sometimes buried. The skyscrapers reflect the dazzling sunlight, but within those walls, countless untold stories exist. In a modern house located in the Marina District, Victoria Carter, a 24-year-old girl with long brown hair and bright eyes, is sitting in front of her computer. Her hands trembling as she gazes at the screen. "I can't believe it," she whispers, her heart filled with anxiety. On the screen is a notification from the Board of Directors of Carter Innovations. Mr. Benjamin Carter, her grandfather, has passed away. A big shock, but it is not just that. She quickly realizes that the legacy her grandfather left behind is not only a famous technology company, but also an inevitable battle. "Grandpa, why did you leave me this burden?" Victoria thinks, tears streaming down her cheeks. She feels as if the whole world is collapsing on her, and a sense of fear envelopes her. How can she manage a large company when even managing her personal life has become a challenge? As she contemplates her grandfather's legacy, a familiar voice calls from behind. "Victoria, you can't let this beat you. He believed in you." It was Lucas Sinclair, a childhood best friend and also one of the long-term employees of Carter Innovations. He stands there with confidence, but Victoria can see the worry in his eyes. "But you know, David won't make this easy. He has wanted to control the company for a long time," Victoria replied, her voice tinged with desperation. David Parker, her mother's new husband, is a powerful man, and Victoria knows he will not give up easily. Lucas steps closer, his gaze filled with determination. "We need to prepare for the board meeting. If you don't stand up, they will not only take the company, but also erase your grandfather's legacy." Victoria takes a deep breath, trying to regain her composure. "I don't know if I have the strength to do that," she admits, a feeling of helplessness washing over her. "You can do it," Lucas asserts. "Remember what he taught us. He always said that perseverance is the key to overcoming any challenge. You have to believe in yourself." A warm feeling spreads within Victoria as she recalls the lessons her grandfather imparted to her. Mr. Benjamin was not just a grandfather, but also a teacher who taught her how to face difficulties and never give up. "All right," Victoria says, determination in her voice. "We will prepare for the meeting. But I need to know everything about the company, about the investors and about David's plans." Lucas nods, his gaze filled with support. "We will do this together. You're not alone." Victoria feels a flicker of hope igniting within her. But just as she stands up, another notification pops up on her computer screen. This time it's a message from an unknown account. "Be careful of those around you, Victoria. No one is a friend." She feels a chill run down her spine. Who is watching her? Who is trying to warn her? A wave of excitement and anxiety surges within her. Victoria knows this battle is not just about running a company. It is also a fight for her own survival. "Lucas, I need to know more about David and my mother," Victoria says, her voice becoming resolute. "We won't let them overthrow us." "Let me find out," Lucas replies, his eyes shining with determination. "We will not let anyone take away your grandfather's legacy." Victoria nods, but inside her, questions churn. Who is behind these threats? Why has everything gotten so complicated? She knows that an arduous battle lies ahead, but one thing is certain. She will not let others decide her fate. And so, in a city where every dream can come true, Victoria Carter begins her journey, not only to protect her grandfather's legacy, but also to uncover the truth behind the secrets gradually revealing themselves. Victoria sat in her office, the light from the window shining onto the documents piled on the table. She felt like she was in the midst of a storm, and every second that passed brought more pressure. Despite being determined to protect Mr. Benjamin's legacy, she couldn't help but feel anxious about what awaited her ahead. "We need to find out about David and his plans," Victoria said to Lucas, who was sitting across from her. If we don't, we won't be able to prepare for the board meeting. Lucas nodded, but his gaze seemed troubled. You know that David is a major player in this industry. He is not just an investor, but also a shrewd strategist. We need to be careful. I understand, Victoria replied, a feeling of fatigue rising within her. But I can't let him control everything. This is my grandfather's company, and I won't let him turn it into a political game. Lucas looked at her with support but also with concern. You'd better meet David directly. He might have information that you need. Victoria took a deep breath, deciding that it was the right move. All right, I'll arrange a meeting. She opened her laptop and began drafting an email to David, excitement rising as her fingers glided over the keyboard. When the email was sent, Victoria felt like she had just thrown a stone into a still pond, and now the ripples would spread outwards. She had no idea that just a few hours later, David would respond with an invitation to meet at an upscale cafe in the financial district. The next day, when Victoria walked into the coffee shop, the atmosphere around seemed heavier than usual. The customers were whispering among themselves, but her mind was focused on one person, David Parker, the man she would have to face. David appeared in a stylish black suit, his self-satisfied smile ever present on his lips. Victoria. It's great to see you again, he said, his tone sweet yet somewhat cold. I'm glad to see you too, Uncle David, Victoria replied, trying to maintain a calm voice. I want to talk about the company and future plans. Oh, you can rest assured, David said, sitting down and starting to stir his coffee. Carter Innovations will not only continue to grow, but will also reach even further. I have some great ideas that I think will be very beneficial for the company. Victoria felt a rising anxiety within her. I want to know more about those ideas. I cannot allow anyone, including you, to decide the company's future without my consent. David raised an eyebrow, his smile still unchanged. You don't understand, Victoria. Sometimes, to succeed, we have to sacrifice a few things. I have extensive experience in this industry, and I know how to steer the company in the right direction. I don't want to sacrifice the values that my grandfather built, Victoria replied, her voice becoming more resolute. I want to preserve what he taught me. David stopped stirring his coffee, his gaze becoming sharp. You may think that way, but in business, weakness will only lead to failure. If you can't accept that, maybe you're not fit for this position. Victoria felt as if she had been slapped in the face. I am not a weak person, Uncle David. I will not allow you or anyone else to dictate my destiny. Very well, David said, his smile returning, but this time it had a mocking tone. You need to remember that sometimes you can't win by just standing firm. Sometimes, you have to know how to compromise. Victoria stood up, feeling the tension within her. I do not need to compromise on what I believe. I will protect my grandfather's legacy. As she turned and walked away, feelings of anger and determination flooded her heart. She knew that David would not give up easily, and this battle had just begun. Upon returning to the office, Victoria felt like a storm was raging inside her. Lucas was waiting for her, his eyes filled with worry. How did it go? He's not as easy as we thought, Victoria sighed, sitting down in her chair. He tried to convince me that his plans are right. What did you say? Lucas asked. I held my ground, she replied, but doubts still lingered in her mind. I can't let him control the company. That's good, but you need to have a specific plan. We need evidence of what he's doing, Lucas said. Victoria nodded, feeling a wave of determination wash over her. I won't just stand by. I will find out everything about him and his connections. In the following days, Victoria began to investigate David and his connections. She rummaged through documents, called old investors, and searched for information on social media. Every piece she gathered gave her a clearer view of the ongoing plots. One evening, while reviewing a financial report, Victoria discovered something unusual. A large sum of money had been transferred to a shell company linked to David. She felt as if she had just found an important clue. "Lucas. I have this," Victoria excitedly called. "There is a large sum of money that David transferred to an unknown company." Lucas approached, his gaze focused on the screen. "This could be evidence to prove that he is quietly manipulating the company." "We need to clarify this," Victoria said, excitement rising. "If we can prove that David is deceiving the board, we can regain control." "But you have to be careful, Victoria. He is not an easy opponent," Lucas warned. "I know," she replied, but her determination remained unwavering. Victoria felt as if she were in the midst of a battle not just for the company but also for her grandfather's honor. She could not let Mr. Benjamin down. Victoria sat in her office, the dim light from the desk lamp casting long shadows on the wall. She had spent the past week researching documents, calling investors, and searching for information about David. The clues she had gathered led her to an unimaginable truth. David Parker was not just an ordinary investor, but also the mastermind behind a grand scheme to seize Carter Innovations. "Victoria, are you ready?" Lucas entered, his eyes filled with concern. "The board meeting is about to start." "Not yet, but I can't wait any longer," she replied, a sense of nervous anticipation rising within her. "I have to confront David and expose the truth." "You know he won't accept that easily," Lucas said, his tone somewhat cautious. "He will react strongly." "That's right," Victoria admitted, but her resolve did not waver. "I won't let him deceive everyone any longer." When Victoria entered the meeting room, the atmosphere was tense. The board members sat around the large table, their eyes fixed on her. David was sitting there, his usual smug expression. But this time there was something different in his gaze. "Victoria, it's good to see you again," David said, a smile on his lips but unable to hide his sinister intent. "Are you prepared for this meeting?" "I have prepared very thoroughly," Victoria replied, her voice strong and confident. "I have some important information I want to share with the board members." David raised an eyebrow, his expression showing doubt. "What information?" Victoria opened her laptop, quickly presenting the documents she had prepared. "I have discovered that David transferred a large sum of money to a company of unknown origin, called Technova. This company has close ties to illegal activities." A silence fell over the meeting room. The board members looked at each other, no one daring to speak. David stood up, his face becoming angry. "This is ridiculous, Victoria. You can't make baseless accusations like that." "That is not a baseless accusation," Victoria countered, feeling the suspense rising. "I have proof. I can demonstrate that you are manipulating this company for your personal gain." David stepped closer, his eyes burning like fire. "You have no idea what you're talking about. If you continue down this path, you'll regret it." Victoria felt her heart pound, but she couldn't back down. "I won't let you continue to deceive everyone. I will protect my grandfather's legacy." "Legacy?" David sneered. "You think you can protect that? You're too young and inexperienced. You can't run a large company like Carter Innovations." "I may be young, but I have enough strength and determination to do it," Victoria replied, feeling a surge of confidence. "I'm not alone. I have Lucas and others standing by my side." "Others?" David asked, his tone becoming mocking. "They won't stand by you when they know you're harming the company's reputation." Victoria felt a wave of anxiety hit her. "I won't let him harm my grandfather's reputation," she thought. "I have to keep going." As the argument continued, Victoria decided to reveal more information she had gathered. "I spoke with some former employees of the company. They provided me with information about the shady transactions you have conducted. David became even angrier. You're wasting your time, Victoria. If you don't stop, I will have to take legal action against you. You can't threaten me, Victoria replied, her voice firm. I will not give up. The meeting became more tense than ever. The board members began to whisper among themselves, and Victoria felt the pressure weighing heavily on her shoulders. She knew that if she couldn't convince them, all her efforts would be in vain. Do you see? Victoria spoke up, trying to capture everyone's attention. We are facing an important decision. If we don't act right now, this company will fall into the hands of a greedy person. David wouldn't sit still. If you want to fight, I won't give up easily. I have powerful connections and I will use them to protect my position. Victoria felt like she was in the middle of a storm. I'm not afraid of you, she said, but inside, fear was rising. I won't let you manipulate this company. As the argument continued, Victoria felt a wave of emotions crashing over her. She recalled the memories with Mr. Benjamin, the lessons he taught her, and the pride of being a part of Carter Innovations. She couldn't let everything be destroyed by a greedy man like David. You all, Victoria turned to the board members, give me a chance to prove that I can run this company. Let me lead Carter Innovations to a better future. David looked at her with a challenging gaze. If you want to fight, be prepared for the consequences. I won't let you win easily. We'll see who the winner is, Victoria replied, feeling like a fire was igniting within her. She knew this was a decisive moment, and she couldn't back down. And if I win? David asked, his tone sarcastic. If you win, I will leave the company. Victoria said without hesitation. But if I win, you will have to leave here forever. A silence enveloped the room. The board members looked at each other, no one daring to speak. David took a deep breath, his expression tense. All right, David finally said. We will let the board decide. But remember, Victoria, you are playing a dangerous game. Victoria nodded, feeling the excitement rise within her. She knew this battle was far from over, and the board's decision would determine her fate and that of Carter Innovations. When the meeting ended, Victoria felt like she had just gone through a battle. She stepped out of the conference room, her heart full of emotions. Lucas was waiting outside, his gaze filled with concern. Are you okay? I don't know, Victoria sighed, fatigue washing over her. I did everything I could, but I'm not sure if the board will support me or not. We need to be prepared for any situation, Lucas said, his gaze resolute. If the board doesn't support you, we will have to find another way. Victoria nodded, but her heart was heavy. She couldn't let everything slip away. And she decided that she would not give up. We will find a way, Victoria affirmed. I will not let David win. And so, Victoria Carter stands before the most difficult decision of her life. She must not only confront David but also fight for her grandfather's legacy. She knows that this battle will not be easy, but she also knows that she will not be alone. With Lucas by her side, she can find a way to protect the company and her grandfather Benjamin's honor. A feeling of anticipation and tension fills Victoria, but one thing is certain, she will not give up. She will fight to the end to protect what her grandfather built and to prove that she has the strength to lead Carter Innovations to a brighter future. Victoria stood in her office. The hazy light of the afternoon streaming through the window, casting long shadows on the floor. She had gone through a challenging journey. From tense encounters with David to searching for the truth about her legacy. Now, as everything began to settle down, she felt a sense of emptiness within her, but also filled with hope. After the board meeting, Victoria had a long conversation with Lucas. They discussed the choices she could make. You can choose to fight or find a way to reconcile, Lucas said, his eyes full of worry. But you also need to think about what is best for the company. Victoria thought a lot about that. She knew that confronting David was not just a fight for power but also a lesson in maturity. She couldn't let negative emotions guide her. "I don't want to become a person like him," she thought to herself. "I want to become a better leader." On a beautiful morning, Victoria decided to meet David one more time. She wanted to discuss what had happened and seek a peaceful solution. As she entered his office, a sense of nervousness welled up inside her. David was sitting there. His expression no longer smug as before, but somewhat tired. "Victoria," he said, his tone no longer sharp as before. "I didn't expect you to come here." "I want to talk to you," Victoria replied, trying to keep her voice calm. "I do not want to continue this war. I want to find a way for us to work together for the benefit of the company." David looked at her, his gaze somewhat surprised. "You think I would easily accept that?" "No, I don't think so," Victoria admitted. "But I believe that if we can collaborate, we will create a better future for Carter Innovations." David was silent for a moment, as if contemplating what Victoria had just said. "I have made wrong choices," he finally spoke. "I have let greed and pride guide me. I didn't think about what was best for the company." Victoria felt a wave of emotion rise within her. "I have also made mistakes," she said. "I have allowed fear and anger to control me. But I have learned that forgiveness is an important part of growing up." David looked at her, his gaze gradually softening. "Do you really think we can start over?" "Yes," Victoria affirmed. "I want to build a company that everyone can be proud of. If you agree, I believe we can make that happen." Their conversation continued, and each word acted as a bridge reconnecting the divided gaps. David began to share his experiences, the mistakes he had made, and the lessons he had learned. Victoria listened, feeling the sincerity in each of his words. "You can become a great leader," David said, his gaze reflecting respect. "I didn't see that before. I was too focused on protecting my position to realize that true success comes from cooperation." Victoria felt her heart warm. "Thank you, David. I've also learned that strength comes not just from power but from the ability to listen and understand others." When the meeting ended, Victoria left the office with a fresh feeling. She not only found a solution to her battle but also realized that forgiveness and love could overcome any barriers. She no longer felt anxiety or fear, but instead, hope and confidence. "This is just the beginning," she thought. Carter Innovations will not just be a company, it will become a family. In the following months, Victoria and David began working together to rebuild the company. They held regular meetings, listened to employees' opinions, and made decisions based on collaboration. Victoria felt she was growing, not only as a leader but also as a person. She started organizing training programs for employees, encouraging them to develop skills and share ideas. With each passing day, she felt she was creating a more positive and creative working environment. Looking back on her journey, Victoria realized that each challenge brought a valuable lesson. She not only learned how to stand firm in the face of difficulties but also understood that forgiveness and love could change everything. She not only protected her grandfather's legacy but also built a brighter future for everyone. Life is a journey, Victoria thought, and each step brings us valuable lessons. Instead of fighting, choose reconciliation. Instead of resentment, choose forgiveness. That is true strength. As Victoria stood looking out the window, the warm sunlight streaming in, she felt her heart filled with hope. Although the road ahead may be challenging, she knew that she was ready to face anything. She had learned that love and forgiveness are not only noble values but also the strength that helps us overcome all difficulties. "We will continue to write this story together," she whispered, a smile blooming on her lips. "And I will never forget that, in every step we take, we can find the light." Victoria stepped out of the office, feeling as though a heavy weight had been lifted off her shoulders. The bright afternoon sun streamed through the green canopies, creating a mosaic of light and shadow on the ground. She took a deep breath, feeling the fresh air fill her lungs, as if each breath brought with it new vitality. Inside her, a sense of peace gradually replaced the anxieties and fears that had haunted her for some time. She no longer felt like she was standing in the midst of a storm, but instead, she felt a calmness, as if everything around her had been rearranged in the best possible way. Victoria stopped by the large window of her office, looking outside. The surroundings were beautiful, but now it was no longer just a scene. Each leaf, each gentle breeze brought her new thoughts. Life is not just about battles, she reminded herself. It's also about connection, love, and forgiveness. She recalled the memories with Mr. Benjamin, the lessons he taught her about patience, respect, and love. He always said that true strength comes not from winning but from the ability to accept and forgive, Victoria thought. Now I truly understand that. When she returned to her desk, her gaze stopped on the family photo. In it, Mr. Benjamin stood in the middle, a warm smile on his face, surrounded by her and other loved ones. She felt a surge of nostalgia, but it was no longer a deep sadness. Instead, it was a feeling of gratitude. "Thank you for showing me the way," she whispered, tears rolling down her cheeks. She recalled the difficult moments her family had gone through, the times they had to stand strong against the storms. "Family is where I find strength," she thought. "They have been by my side in the toughest times, and now I feel responsible for protecting and building a better future for them." She decided to hold a small party to invite family and close friends to celebrate the new beginning of Carter Innovations. Victoria wanted to share with them not only about the company's success, but also about the lessons she had learned. She wanted them to know that love and forgiveness can change everything. "That's right, I will not only be the leader of this company," she thought, her eyes shining brightly. "I will also be a part of the family, a daughter, a friend, and a responsible leader." As Victoria stood up, a surge of excitement welled up inside her. She felt as though she was starting a new chapter in her life. The past days filled with stress and anxiety had now become history. She had learned that strength comes not only from controlling everything but also from allowing good things to happen naturally. "Life is a journey," she reminded herself. "And I will not stop learning, not stop growing. I will turn difficulties into opportunities and mistakes into lessons." When Victoria stepped out of the office, the dazzling sunlight brightened the entire space. She felt as if she were entering a new world, where forgiveness and love would guide every decision. "I will never forget what I have been through," she told herself. "But now, I am ready to face every challenge with an open heart." And in that moment, Victoria knew that she was not only seeking success for herself, but also for all the people she loved. She would continue this journey, believing that each step brings a new opportunity, and that life is truly beautiful when we live with love and forgiveness.